This is the homework helper for Chapter 4, Section 5 in the 7th grade workbook, Customary Measurements. So what we're asked to do at the top part here is the same for 1 through 4, although I'm going to work through all of 1 through 4 with you there. They're asking you to take a look at the chart in the book and say which unit you would use to measure whatever the situation they are describing would ask you to measure. As you can see, you're choosing from U.S. units here. The chart that's in the book is shown at the bottom of the screen there. So you can choose inch, foot, or mile if we're talking about lengths. Weight, we can talk about ounces, pounds, or tons. And if we're talking about capacities, we can talk about fluid ounces, cups, or gallons. So number 1, we're talking about the weight of a paperback book. So if we're talking about weights, we can talk about ounces, pounds, or tons. So if we're talking about the weight of something, we can compare that to an ounce, which is the weight of a slice of bread. Or we can compare that to pounds, which is about the weight of 3 apples. Or we can compare that to tons, which is benchmarked by the weight of a buffalo. Now, I think tons is the one that's obviously out, because a paperback book and a buffalo are nowhere near each other in terms of weight. Pounds, the weight of 3 apples, I think you could make a case for pounds, although it would be a very small number of pounds. But the real logical answer here is ounces. Yes, it's more than 1, but ounces is probably going to be the best way to weigh a paperback book. Ounces because it's comparable to several slices of bread. If we want to, we could maybe even say, in parentheses, or many slices of bread. As we look at number 2, they're talking about the capacity of a large soup pot. So if we're talking about capacity, we're talking about fluid ounces, which is how much water there is in 2 tablespoons. A cup, which is the capacity of a standard measuring cup. Or we could talk about gallons, which is the capacity of a large milk jug. So if we're talking about a soup kettle, fluid ounces is the one that's very obviously out. If we just took a couple little tablespoons of water, that's going to evaporate before I even get to make the soup. All right, so it's not going to be fluid ounces. I think you could make a good case, though, for cups, which is how much you're going to have in a standard measuring cup. Think of a coffee cup, maybe, if that helps you a little bit more. How many coffee cups could I dump into the soup pot? Or gallons, which is the capacity of a large milk jug. Even though it would probably only be maybe 1, 1.5, 2 gallons, that would probably also be a good measurement here. So you could probably go with cups or gallons here. So I'm going to go ahead and go with gallons here. Not really knowing what the soup pot they're talking about looks like, but I'm picturing the big soup pots you find at like a buffet restaurant type thing. So we're going to say gallons here. Comparable to a milk jug. All right, number 3, the length of a dining room table. So if we're talking about lengths, we can talk about inches, feet, or miles. Inches are benchmarked by the length of a small paper clip. Well, that would probably be the hard way to measure a table. A bunch of little paper clips laying them next to each other. It's going to take a long time to measure a dining room table. Feet is the length of a standard sheet of paper. That's probably a little bit better. Probably not nearly as many as there are paper clips, that's for sure. And then miles, that's the length of 4 laps around a track. Well, unless you're a king and you've got a castle, your dining room table is probably not measured in miles. So here we're going to go with feet. And we're going to say the reasoning is because it's comparable to, let's say, a half a dozen sheets of paper. All right, and the last one is the weight of an elephant. So we're back to weights. So we can choose from ounce, pound, or ton. Well, remember, ton was the weight of a buffalo. Well, elephant's a big animal too. So if we're saying that's the weight of a buffalo, elephant's probably also well measured by tons there. The other ones are probably just much too small. Ounces is the weight of a slice of bread. We know an elephant weighs significantly more than that. Pounds, even 3 apples. Well, the elephant's going to eat the apples and still be hungry. So Ounces are out, pounds are out, tons is really the logical choice. Might not be a full ton, it might be 3/4 of a ton. A ton is going to be the easiest way to do this, and we're going to say it's going to be comparable to the weight of a buffalo.